The alarm bells rang through the mining colony like angry metal birds. Daeho Kim pulled his thick coat tighter and looked at the dark sky above Kepler 442c. The ice planet never got warm, but today felt different. Today felt dangerous. "Boss, the weather station says this storm is going to be bad," called out Young Min, one of his construction workers. The young man's breath came out in white clouds as he spoke. "Really bad? Worse than anything we have seen before." Daeho nodded and checked his watch. The storm would hit in 2 hours, maybe less. He had been the construction foreman on this frozen rock for 3 years now. He knew how to read the signs. The wind was already picking up speed and the temperature was dropping fast. "Pack up the tools," Daeho ordered his team. "Get everything inside the storage units. Make sure the thermal barriers are secure. We need to move now." The mining colony sat in a valley between 2 large ice mountains. 847 humans lived here, working day and night to dig out rare minerals from deep underground. The work was hard and cold, but it paid well. Most people came here to make money for their families back on Earth. Daeho watched his crew work quickly to secure their equipment. These were good people. They trusted him to keep them safe. He would not let them down. The wind started to howl louder. Ice crystals began to dance in the air like tiny glass pieces. Daeho could feel the storm getting closer. His skin felt tight from the cold even inside his heated suit. "Sir, we need to get to the underground shelters now," said Yoonji, his assistant supervisor. She was pointing at the weather display on her tablet. "The wind speed is already at 100 miles per hour. It will hit 200 soon." Daeho looked at the display. The storm was massive. It covered half the continent. The temperature would drop to minus 80 degrees. Anyone caught outside would freeze to death in minutes. "Everyone to the shelters," Daeho called out through his radio. "This is not a drill. Move now." The crew began running toward the entrance to the underground tunnels. The colony had built these shelters deep in the ground where the temperature stayed warmer. They had food, water, and heat for weeks if needed. Daeho was about to follow his team when he heard something strange. It was a sound that did not belong in the howling wind. A soft humming noise like music, but sadder. It seemed to come from the new excavation site they had opened last week. He stopped and listened carefully. The sound came again. It was definitely not the wind or the machines. It sounded almost like crying. But that was impossible. No one was supposed to be in that area. "Boss, come on," Young Min called from the shelter entrance. "The storm is almost here." Daeho looked at the dark excavation site, then at his workers waiting for him. Every part of his training said to go to safety. But the sound came again, and this time it sounded more desperate. "Get everyone inside," Daeho told Yoonji. "Start the emergency protocols. I will be there in a few minutes." "Sir, you cannot go out there," Yoonji said. Her voice was worried. "The storm will kill you." "Something is wrong at the dig site," Daeho said. "I need to check it out. If I am not back in 20 minutes, seal the shelter." Before anyone could stop him, Daeho turned and ran toward the excavation site. The wind hit him like a giant fist trying to knock him down. Ice particles stung his face through his helmet visor. The temperature was dropping so fast that his suit's heater was already working at full power. The excavation site was a large hole in the ground where they had been digging for new mineral deposits. They had found some interesting crystal formations last week, but nothing valuable yet. Daeho climbed down the metal stairs into the pit, fighting against the wind that tried to throw him around. At the bottom of the excavation, he found a cave entrance that had not been there before. The digging must have opened it up. The strange humming sound was coming from inside the cave. Daeho turned on his helmet light and stepped into the cave. The walls were covered with smooth ice that reflected his light like mirrors. The cave went deeper than his light could reach. The humming sound was louder now, and it definitely sounded like crying. He walked deeper into the cave, following the sound. His boots crunched on the ice floor. The cave was old, much older than the mining colony. Someone or something had been here long before humans arrived. Then Daeho saw them. 7 crystal pods sat in a circle in the center of a large cave chamber. Each pod was about the size of a bathtub, made of clear material that glowed with soft blue light. Inside each pod was a small figure no bigger than a human baby. But these were not human babies. The creatures had large heads and tiny bodies covered in what looked like silver fur. Their skin glowed with the same blue light as the pods. They had 4 arms and large eyes that were closed as if they were sleeping. Or dying. Daeho moved closer to one of the pods. The humming sound was coming from inside. The little creature was making the noise, and it sounded scared and alone. Red warning lights blinked on the pod's control panel. The systems were failing. He checked the other pods. All of them had red warning lights. All of them were failing. The creatures inside were in danger. Deho did not know what these beings were or where they came from. He did not know if they were friendly or dangerous. But he could see they were babies and they were dying. Above ground, the storm was getting worse. The wind was howling like a monster, and the temperature was dropping toward -80 degrees. If he stayed down here much longer, he might not make it back to the shelter alive. But if he left, these 7 little lives would be lost forever. Deho made his choice. He activated his emergency radio. "This is Deho. I need immediate help at excavation site 7. Bring the mobile heaters and the emergency transport sleds. We have a rescue situation." "Sir, you need to get to shelter now," came Yunji's voice through the static. "The storm is too dangerous." "There are lives at stake," Deho said. 7 of them. They are just babies and they need our help. I am not leaving them to die." The storm above grew stronger, but Deho Kim stayed with the alien children, knowing that some things were more important than safety. The medical bay had never been so busy. So-Min Park wiped sweat from her forehead as she worked over the 7 crystal pods that Deho's team had brought in from the storm. The alien babies inside were still alive, but their life signs were weak and getting weaker. "I have never seen anything like this," So-Min said to her assistant Jaewon. "Their body temperature is different from humans. Their hearts beat slower. Even their breathing pattern is strange." Jaewon looked at the readings on his scanner. "Doctor, the smallest one is having trouble. Its pod system completely stopped working 10 minutes ago." So-Min rushed to the pod where the tiniest alien baby lay. It was even smaller than the others, with silver fur that barely glowed. Its 4 little arms moved weakly, and its large eyes opened for the first time since they brought it inside. The eyes were beautiful. They were large and blue, like looking into a calm ocean. When the little creature looked at So-Min, she felt something strange in her mind. Not words, but feelings. The baby was scared and confused, but also grateful. "It can communicate somehow," So-Min told Jaewon. "Not with words, but with emotions. I can feel what it feels." She carefully opened the failing pod and lifted the small alien baby. It was lighter than a human baby, but warm to the touch. Its silver fur was soft like silk. When she held it close, the baby stopped crying and its glow became brighter. "Jaewon, get me the emergency life support equipment," So-Min ordered. "We need to build new systems for all of them. Their pods are failing one by one." While So-Min worked to save the alien babies, Deho sat in the medical bay waiting room. His hands and feet were bandaged from the frostbite he got during the rescue. The colony's administrator, Hyun-Woo Lee, sat next to him with a worried expression. "Deho, I need to ask you some hard questions," Hyun-Woo said. "Do you know what these creatures are? Where they came from? Are they dangerous?" Deho shook his head. "I do not know anything about them. I just knew they needed help. They are babies, Hyun-Woo, just babies. But they are not human babies," Hyun-Woo said. "We have limited medical supplies on this colony. Limited food. Limited power. If we use our resources to keep these aliens alive, we might not have enough for our own people." Other colonists had gathered in the waiting room. Word had spread quickly about the alien babies. Some people looked curious, others looked worried. A few looked scared. "What if their parents come looking for them?" asked Sang-ho, one of the miners. "What if they think we kidnapped them? We could all be in danger. What if they carry diseases that could kill us?" said another colonist. "We do not know anything about their biology." Hyun-Woo stood up to address the crowd. "Everyone, please stay calm. We need to make a decision as a colony. Do we continue to care for these alien beings, or do we focus on our own survival?" Before anyone could answer, So-Min came out of the medical bay. Her face was tired but determined. "I need to speak with everyone," she said. The colonists gathered around her. So-Min looked at each person before she spoke. "These babies are dying," she said simply. "Their life support systems have failed. Without our help, they will be dead within hours." "But what does that mean for us?" asked Hyun-Woo. "It means we need to make a choice about who we are as human beings," So-Min replied. "These creatures are intelligent. They can feel emotions just like us. They are scared and alone and far from home. They did not choose to be here." She paused and looked directly at Deho. One man already made his choice. He risked his life in a deadly storm to save them. Now we all have to choose. Young Min, Daeho's worker, stepped forward. Doctor, what do you need to keep them alive? Medical supplies, food that they can digest, and constant monitoring, So Min said. It will use about 30% of our resources for the next few months. The colonists talked quietly among themselves. Some argued that it was too risky. Others said it was the right thing to do. The debate went on for nearly an hour. Finally, old Minsu, the oldest miner in the colony, spoke up. I have been working in space for 40 years, he said. I have seen humans do terrible things to each other over money and resources. But I have also seen humans do beautiful things when it mattered most. He looked around the room. These babies did not ask to be here. They are not our enemies. They are just children who need help. If we turn our backs on them now, what does that say about us as a species? Bora Choi, the communications specialist, had been quiet during the discussion. Now she raised her hand. I have been monitoring the energy signatures from the babies, she said. They are sending some kind of signal into space. A very weak signal, but it is there. What kind of signal? Hyunwoo asked. I do not know, Bora admitted. It could be a distress call. It could be their way of staying connected to their own kind. But whatever it is, it means someone might be looking for them. This news made some colonists more nervous. But Daeho stood up, still wearing his medical bandages. Listen to me, he said. When I found those babies, they were dying alone in a dark cave. They had been abandoned or lost somehow. Maybe their parents are dead. Maybe their ship was destroyed. We do not know. He looked at each person in the room. But we do know this. We have the power to save 7 lives today, 7 children who have done nothing wrong. If we choose not to help them, they will die, and we will have to live with that choice forever. The room fell silent. Then Young Min spoke. I vote to help them. Me too, said Yoonji. And me, said Jaewon. One by one, every person in the colony voted to use their resources to save the alien babies. The vote was unanimous. Hyunwoo nodded slowly. Then it is decided. Dr. Park, you have everything you need. We will take care of these children. As the colonists dispersed to return to their duties, Daeho went back into the medical bay. The smallest alien baby, the one So Min had held, looked at him with its large blue eyes. Again he felt the strange communication of emotions. This time the feeling was gratitude and something else. Trust. The baby trusted him. They all did. And Daeho Kim knew that the human colony on Kepler 442c had just changed forever. 3 weeks had passed since the ice storm, and the alien babies were growing stronger every day. So Min Park smiled as she watched the smallest one, whom the colonists had started calling Hope, reach out with its 4 tiny arms toward the mobile hanging above its new crib. The 7 babies no longer needed the crystal pods. So Min and her team had built special cribs with heating systems and air filters that kept them comfortable. Each baby was different. Some were bigger, some smaller. Some had brighter silver fur, others had fur that sparkled like stars. Doctor, look at this, Jaewon said excitedly. He was holding a tablet that showed brain scans of the babies. Their brain activity has increased by 200% since last week. They are learning incredibly fast. So Min looked at the readings. It was amazing. These babies were developing mental abilities much faster than human children. They were only a few weeks old, but they already showed signs of complex thinking. The babies had also started making different sounds. Not just the sad humming they made when Daeho first found them. Now they made musical sounds that seemed to have meaning. When one baby made a certain sound, the others would respond with their own sounds, like they were having conversations. They are talking to each other, So Min realized. They have their own language. But the most surprising discovery was their ability to sense emotions. Every person who spent time with the babies could feel it. When someone was happy, the babies glowed brighter. When someone was sad or worried, the babies would make soft, comforting sounds and their glow would become warmer. Daeho visited the medical bay every day after work. His frostbite had healed, but he still felt responsible for the 7 little lives he had saved. Hope, the smallest baby, always seemed to recognize him. When Daeho entered the room, Hope would make excited musical sounds and reach toward him. She remembers you, So Min told Daeho one evening. They all do. You are special to them. Daeho carefully picked up Hope and held her gently, the baby's forearms wrapped around his finger, and he felt that strange emotional connection again. This time Hope was sharing feelings of safety and love. It was the most beautiful feeling Daeho had ever experienced. What do you think they are? Daeho asked Somin. Where did they come from? I have been studying their biology, Somin said. They are definitely not from this planet. Their cellular structure is completely different from any Earth life form, and their brains are incredibly advanced. I think they might be from a very intelligent species. Meanwhile, Bo-Ra Choi was working late in the communications center. She had been studying the signals that the babies were sending into space. The signals were getting stronger as the babies grew healthier. The signal pattern is changing, Bo-Ra told Hyunwoo when he came to check on her work. At first it was just a simple repeating pattern. Now it is much more complex, almost like they are sending detailed information. What kind of information? Hyunwoo asked. I am not sure, Bo-Ra said. But if I had to guess, I would say they are telling someone that they are alive and safe. The signals started getting stronger right after we began taking care of them properly. This news worried Hyunwoo. If the babies were calling for help, someone might come looking for them. That could be good or bad for the human colony. Have you detected any response to their signals? He asked. Bo-Ra shook her head. Nothing yet. But space is big. If someone is coming, it could take weeks or months to get here. The next morning, something wonderful happened. The babies had been placed in a large playroom where they could move around safely. Somin was watching them when she noticed something incredible. The babies were working together to solve problems. Someone had left some building blocks in the room. The babies had figured out how to stack them into complex patterns. But the amazing thing was how they did it. They communicated with each other using their musical language, and each baby would add blocks to create something beautiful together. They are not just intelligent, Somin told Daeho when he arrived for his daily visit. They are creative. They make art together. Daeho watched as the babies built tower after tower, each one more complex than the last. Their silver fur glowed with different colors now, changing based on their emotions and the sounds they made. Look at that, Daeho said, pointing to Hope. The smallest baby was trying to reach a block that was too far away. Instead of crying, she made a specific musical sound. Immediately, one of the bigger babies crawled over and pushed the block toward her. They help each other, Somin observed. They care about each other's needs. Over the following days, the babies continued to amaze everyone in the colony. They learned to recognize different human faces and voices. They seemed to understand when humans were talking about them, even though they could not speak human words yet. The colonists had begun taking turns visiting the babies. Even the people who had been scared at first grew to love the 7 little creatures. The babies brought joy to the hard life on the ice planet. But Jin Soo-yu, the colony's security chief, was watching his long-range sensors with growing concern. For the past week, he had been detecting strange energy readings at the very edge of their detection range. There is something out there, Jin Soo told Hyunwoo during their daily security meeting. Multiple objects, very large, moving toward our system. How large? Hyunwoo asked. Big enough to be ships, maybe hundreds of them. They are still very far away, but they are definitely coming in our direction. Hyunwoo felt his stomach tighten. How long before they get here? Jin Soo checked his calculations again. If they maintain current speed, they will reach our system in about 24 hours. That evening, Hyunwoo called an emergency meeting of the colony leadership. He told them about the approaching objects and the possibility that they were connected to the alien babies. We need to prepare for first contact, Hyunwoo said. We do not know if these visitors will be friendly or hostile. We need to be ready for anything. Daeho was holding Hope during the meeting. The little baby seemed to sense the tension in the room. She made soft, worried sounds and her glow became dimmer. Whatever happens, Daeho said, we protect these babies. They trust us. We cannot let them down. As the colony prepared for the unknown visitors, the 7 alien babies continued to play and learn, unaware that their rescue had set in motion events that would change the future of both their species forever. In space, 2,000 ships continued their journey toward the small mining colony, carrying with them the power to bring either salvation or destruction to the humans who had shown kindness to 7 lost children. The alarm bells that woke the colony were different this time. Not the warning sounds of an ice storm, but the deep, urgent tones that meant unknown ships had entered their system. Jin Soo-yu stood in the command center, staring at his screens in disbelief. 2,000 ships, he said to Hyunwoo, who had rushed in still wearing his sleeping clothes. I have never seen anything like this in my life. The ships appeared on the display like a cloud of metal stars. Some were small, about the size of the colony's transport vessels. Others were enormous, bigger than city blocks. The largest ships looked like they could destroy entire planets. Are they hostile? Hyunwoo asked, his voice tight with fear. I do not know, Jinsu replied. They are not attacking yet. They are just sitting there in orbit around our planet, waiting. Bora Choi worked frantically at her communication station. I am getting signals from the lead ship, she called out. They are trying to communicate with us. Can you understand what they are saying? Hyunwoo asked. Not yet. The language is completely unknown, but our computers are working on a translation. Give me a few minutes. Throughout the colony, people were waking up and gathering in the common areas. Everyone had heard the alarms. Everyone knew that something big was happening. Some colonists looked scared. Others looked excited. All of them looked to their leaders for answers. Daeho was in the medical bay with the 7 babies when the alarm started. The little ones seemed to sense that something important was happening. Their musical communications became more frequent and more complex. Their silver fur glowed brighter than ever before. Dr. Park, Jaewon said urgently, look at this. The baby's brain activity is off the charts, and their signal transmissions have increased by 500%. So Min checked the readings on her instruments. They know, she said with amazement. Somehow they know those ships are here for them. Hope, the smallest baby, looked directly at Daeho with her large blue eyes. Through their emotional connection, Daeho felt something he had never felt before from her. Not fear or gratitude, but recognition. Hope knew the ships. She knew who was on them. They are not strangers, Daeho realized. The ships belong to their people. Back in the command center, Bo-Ra's translation programs were finally making progress. I am getting words, she announced. The language is incredibly complex, but the computer is learning fast. The first translated message appeared on her screen. Bora read it aloud, her voice shaking slightly. This is Commander Tae-yang of the Villani fleet. We seek our lost children. We know they are on this world. Respond immediately or face the consequences. The command center fell silent. The message was clear and threatening. Hyunwoo took a deep breath before responding. Commander Tae-yang, this is Administrator Hyunwoo Lee of the human mining colony on Kepler 442c. We have 7 young beings in our care. They are safe and healthy. We request peaceful dialogue. Several minutes passed before a response came. During the wait, Jinsu reported that more ships were moving into attack positions around the planet. Human Administrator, came the translated reply. I am Commander Tae-yang of the Royal Villani House. The children you claim to have are the last offspring of our noble bloodline. They were lost when pirates destroyed their transport 3 months ago. We assumed they were dead. Hyunwoo felt a chill run down his spine. These were not just any alien babies. They were royalty, and their people had assumed they were dead. Commander Tae-yang, Hyunwoo responded carefully. The children are alive and well cared for. We found them during an ice storm and have been protecting them. We ask for permission to show you their condition. You will bring the children to the surface immediately, Commander Tae-yang ordered. I will come down to verify their condition. Any attempt to harm them or use them as hostages will result in the complete destruction of your colony. Hyunwoo looked around the command center. Every face showed the same fear. These aliens had enough ships to destroy their world, and they thought the humans might be child kidnappers or worse. Understood, Commander. We will prepare for your arrival. Please know that we have only tried to help your children. They have been treated with love and care. We shall see, came the cold reply. Within an hour, a single Villani ship descended from orbit. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The ship looked like it was made of liquid silver, flowing and changing shape as it moved through the atmosphere. It landed softly on the colony's main landing pad without making a sound. The colonists gathered at a safe distance to watch. They had never seen alien technology before. The ship was unlike anything humans had ever built. A doorway opened in the ship's smooth surface, and Commander Tae-yang stepped out. He was tall, much taller than any human, with silver skin that glowed softly like the baby's fur. His face was elegant and angular, with large eyes that seemed to see everything at once. He wore robes that sparkled like starlight, and when he moved, he seemed to float rather than walk. Commander Tae-yang was accompanied by 6 other Villani, all dressed in what looked like military uniforms. They carried weapons that hummed with energy, but they kept them lowered as they approached the colony entrance. I am Commander Tae-yang, he announced, his voice carrying easily across the landing area. Take me to our children immediately. Hyun-woo, accompanied by Dae-ho and So-min, led the Villani delegation to the medical bay. The alien commander said nothing during the walk, but his large eyes took in everything around him. He studied the human colonists, their technology, their living conditions. When they reached the medical bay, Commander Tae-yang stopped in the doorway. His expression changed completely when he saw the 7 babies playing together in their safe, warm room. The babies looked up when the adults entered. When they saw Commander Tae-yang, they made excited musical sounds and their fur began to glow with brilliant colors. Hope, the smallest one, made a particular sound that seemed to mean joy. Commander Tae-yang stepped forward slowly. He knelt down beside the babies and spoke to them in the same musical language. The babies responded enthusiastically, clearly happy to hear their native tongue again. But then Commander Tae-yang noticed something that made his eyes widen with surprise. When Hope reached toward him, she also reached toward Dae-ho with her other arms. She wanted both of them close to her. "This human," Commander Tae-yang said, looking at Dae-ho with new interest. "The children recognize him as family." Dae-ho felt all eyes on him. "I found them during the ice storm. I have been helping to care for them ever since." Commander Tae-yang studied Dae-ho carefully. In Villani culture, such recognition from royal children meant something very important. It meant trust of the highest level. "Tell me exactly what happened," Commander Tae-yang commanded. "Tell me everything." As Dae-ho began to tell the story of the rescue, Commander Tae-yang listened with growing amazement. These humans had risked their lives and used their precious resources to save alien children they had never seen before. Such behavior was almost unheard of in the galaxy. And it was about to change everything. Commander Tae-yang listened in complete silence as Dae-ho told the story of the rescue. The Villani leader's large eyes never left Dae-ho's face as he described running into the deadly ice storm, finding the failing pods in the ancient cave, and choosing to save the alien babies even though it could have cost him his life. When Dae-ho finished speaking, Commander Tae-yang was quiet for a long time. He looked at the 7 babies playing happily in their human-built cribs, then at the medical equipment that So-min had created to keep them alive, then back at Dae-ho. "You risked your life for children that were not your own species," Commander Tae-yang said slowly. "You used your colony's limited resources to save beings you had never seen before." Why? Dae-ho thought about the question. It seemed so simple to him, but he could see that Commander Tae-yang was struggling to understand. "They needed help," Dae-ho said. "They were babies. They were going to die if someone did not save them. It did not matter what species they were." Commander Tae-yang turned to So-min. "And you are a medical officer. You could have refused to treat alien life forms. Your duty is to your own people." So-min nodded. "That is true. But my duty as a doctor is to save lives. All lives." These babies were sick and scared. I could not turn away from them. And your colony voted to help them even though it would cost you greatly. Commander Tae-yang continued, looking at Hyun-woo. "Yes," Hyun-woo confirmed. "Every person voted to save them. No one wanted to let children die, even alien children." Commander Tae-yang walked to the window and looked out at the colony. He could see human workers going about their daily tasks, living their hard lives on this frozen world. These people had so little, yet they had given freely to save his people's most precious children. "In Villani culture," Commander Tae-yang said, still looking out the window, "such sacrifice is the highest honor. We call it kethmai, the willingness to give your life for another. But kethmai is only given to family members or sworn battle companions." He turned back to face the humans. "Never in our history has kethmai been shown to unknown beings from another species. We believed other races were incapable of such noble behavior." Hope made a musical sound from her crib, and Commander Tae-yang walked over to her. The tiny baby reached up with all 4 arms, wanting to be held. When the commander picked her up, Hope immediately snuggled against him, but she also reached toward Dae-ho. "She wants us both," Dae-ho realized. "She loves both of us." "Love." Commander Tae-yang repeated the word as if testing its meaning. "Our children love their human caretakers. This is something our scientists said was impossible between different species." So-min stepped forward. "Commander, would you like to see what else the children have learned while staying with us?" Commander Tae-yang nodded, and So-min led him to the playroom where the babies spent their days. She showed him the complex block towers they built together, the way they communicated and helped each other, and how they had learned to recognize individual humans. They have grown so much, Commander Tae-yang said with wonder. They are healthier and happier than I have ever seen young Villani. How is this possible? Love, Daeho said simply. They are surrounded by people who care about them. Everyone in the colony has helped take care of them. Commander Tae-yang observed as different colonists came to visit the babies during their breaks from work. Young Min brought little toys he had carved from ice. Hyunji sang human lullabies that made the babies glow with happiness. Even gruff old Minsu would sit and tell them stories, though they could not understand his words. Your people treat our royal children as if they were your own offspring, Commander Tae-yang observed. They are children, Somin said. That is all that matters to us. That evening, Commander Tae-yang called his fleet and told them to stand down from attack positions. He requested that his second-in-command, General Wu Jin, come to the surface to see what he had discovered. General Wu Jin arrived the next morning with a team of Villani scientists and cultural experts. They spent the entire day observing how the humans cared for the babies, studying the medical equipment Somin had built, and interviewing colonists about their decision to help. This changes everything we thought we knew about humans, General Wu Jin told Commander Tae-yang privately. Our intelligence report said they were a violent, selfish species interested only in profit and expansion. Our intelligence was wrong, Commander Tae-yang replied. These humans show more honor than many Villani I have known. The Villani scientists were amazed by Somin's medical work. Without any knowledge of Villani biology, she had somehow created life support systems that worked perfectly for the babies. Her dedication and skill impressed even the most experienced Villani doctors. How did you know what they needed? Asked Dr. Nari, the chief Villani medical officer. I watched them carefully, Somin explained. I learned from them. They told me what they needed through their emotions and behavior. I just had to listen. Dr. Nari was shocked. You learned our children's needs through empathy alone. Such understanding usually takes years of study. Meanwhile, the Villani cultural experts were studying the colony's social structure. They interviewed dozens of humans about their decision to save the alien babies. We expected to find evidence of ulterior motives, expert Young-ho told Commander Tae-yang. Some hidden reason for their kindness. But there is none. They helped our children simply because it was the right thing to do. And they continue to care for them with no expectation of reward, added expert Su-jin. This level of selfless behavior is extraordinary. On the third day, Commander Tae-yang made a decision that would change both species forever. He called together all the humans and Villani on the surface. Humans of this colony, he announced, you have shown honor beyond anything we thought possible from your species. You saved our most precious children and cared for them as your own. He looked directly at Daeho. Foreman Kim Daeho, your actions in the ice storm show the highest form of courage and compassion. You risked everything for beings you did not know. Commander Tae-yang paused, choosing his words carefully. In recognition of your sacrifice and honor, I declare this colony under the eternal protection of the Villani Royal Fleet, and I name Daeho Kim the first non-Villani to be granted honorary membership in our royal house. The humans gasped. Even without understanding Villani culture completely, they knew this was something incredible. What does that mean? Daeho asked. It means you are family, Commander Tae-yang said with a smile, and family takes care of family. 6 months after the Villani fleet arrived, the mining colony on Kepler 442c looked completely different. Where once there had been simple metal buildings struggling against the ice and wind, now there was a thriving settlement with advanced heating systems, beautiful architecture, and gardens where earth plants grew alongside exotic Villani flowers. The 7 royal babies had grown remarkably during this time. They were now the size of human toddlers, walking on their 4 legs and communicating in both Villani musical language and simple human words. Hope, still the smallest, had become especially close to Daeho and followed him everywhere he went. Papa Day, Hope said in her musical voice, tugging on Daeho's work pants as he supervised the construction of the new cultural center. It was one of the first human words she had learned, and it always made Daeho smile. What is it, little one? Daeho asked, kneeling down to her level. Hope pointed with one of her 4 arms toward the sky, where Villani ships moved gracefully between the stars. Home ships, she said. But home here too, Daeho understood. The Villani fleet had become a permanent presence in their system. But the babies now considered the human colony their home as well. Commander Taeyang had made an unprecedented decision to let the royal children choose where they wanted to live. Until they reached adulthood, all 7 had chosen to stay with their human families. This decision had shocked the entire Villani civilization. Never before had royal children chosen to live with aliens, but when the Villani Council questioned Commander Taeyang about it, he had simply shown them recordings of how the humans cared for the children. The recordings showed Daeho teaching Hope to build with blocks, So-min singing lullabies to calm a crying baby, and Young-min carving toy spaceships that made all 7 children glow with joy. They showed the entire colony working together to create safe play areas, special food that the babies could digest, and warm clothes that fit their unique bodies. Love transcends species, Commander Taeyang had told the Villani Council. These humans have proven that family is not about blood or biology. It is about care, sacrifice, and commitment. The Villani Council had agreed to honor the children's choice, but they had also established a permanent research station on Kepler 442c. Villani scientists worked alongside human researchers, sharing knowledge and technology. The humans learned about advanced energy systems and space travel, while the Villani learned about human agriculture, medicine, and childcare. Dr. Nari, the Villani medical officer, had become close friends with So-min. They worked together in a new joint medical facility that served both species. Your people have a gift for healing that goes beyond science, Dr. Nari told So-min one day, as they watched the 7 children play in the medical bay's new playground. You heal with your hearts as much as your minds. So-min smiled as she watched Hope try to teach a human toddler how to stack blocks using all 4 arms. We just do what feels right, she said. The cultural exchange had benefits that neither species had expected. Young Villani who came to study at the research station learned human concepts like selfless service and community cooperation. Young humans who worked with Villani technology developed new ideas about art, music, and engineering. Bo-Ra Choi had become the colony's official ambassador to the Villani fleet. She had learned to speak musical Villani and often translated during important meetings. The children are sending stronger signals now, Bo-Ra reported to the monthly Joint Council meeting. But the signals are different. They are not distress calls anymore. They are celebration signals. Celebration of what? Asked General Wu Jin, who had also become a permanent resident of the system. Being part of 2 families, Bo-Ra explained. The signals tell other Villani across the galaxy about the humans who saved them, about love that crosses species barriers. These signals had an unexpected effect throughout Villani space. Other Villani ships began visiting human colonies, not as conquerors or suspicious observers, but as potential friends. The story of the 7 royal babies had spread across the galaxy, and humans were no longer seen as a primitive, violent species. Instead, humans were becoming known as the species that would sacrifice for children that were not their own. Jin Su-yu, now the security chief for both humans and Villani on the planet, had noticed increased activity from other alien species as well. 3 more alien ships requested permission to visit this week, he reported. Word is spreading beyond Villani space. Everyone wants to meet the humans who saved the royal children. Hyun-woo, now the administrator of what had become known as the Harmony Colony, was amazed by how much their little mining settlement had grown. We started with 847 humans trying to survive on an ice planet, he said. Now we have over 2,000 beings from 6 different species, all living and working together. But the most important changes were in the children themselves. The 7 royal Villani babies were growing up truly bilingual and bicultural. They spoke both languages, understood both sets of customs, and moved easily between human and Villani social groups. Hope had become a natural bridge between the species. When new aliens visited the colony, she would greet them with perfect manners in their own style, then immediately introduce them to her human family members. Her ability to make everyone feel welcome had become legendary. One evening, as Daeho tucked Hope into her specially designed bed, she looked up at him with her large blue eyes. Papa Dae, she said, why did you save us in the ice storm? Daeho thought about the question. It was one that diplomats, scientists, and philosophers from across the galaxy had been asking him for months. Because you needed help, he said simply, and when someone needs help, you help them if you can. Hope smiled, an expression she had learned from humans. That is why we love you, she said. You help because it is good to help. As Daeho left Hope's room, he found Commander Tae-yang waiting in the hallway. The Vellani leader often visited the children before they slept. The Galactic Council has made a decision, Commander Tae-yang said. They want to invite humanity to join as an official member species. Daeho was stunned. Because we saved your children? Because your actions prove that humans possess the most important quality for galactic citizenship, Commander Tae-yang explained. The ability to care for others regardless of differences. He paused and looked toward Hope's room, where soft musical humming could be heard as she sang herself to sleep. One act of compassion in an ice storm has changed the destiny of your entire species, Commander Tae-yang said. The galaxy is better because humans like you exist in it. Outside the colony, the aurora lights danced across the ice planet's sky in brilliant colors. But now they were joined by the soft glows of Vellani ships and the warm lights of other alien vessels, all drawn to this small world where a construction foreman had once risked everything to save 7 crying babies. The mining colony had become something no one had ever imagined. It had become the first truly interspecies community in galactic history, built on the foundation of one human's simple belief that children in danger must be saved. And in her small room, Hope fell asleep knowing that she belonged to 2 families, 2 species, and 2 worlds that had learned to love each other because one man had chosen compassion over safety on a cold, dark night.